The for sale sign had been sitting in the yard for almost 3 months. Inside the small white farmhouse, David and Laura Mitchell sat at their kitchen table, trying to decide which bills could wait another week. David had worked at the town's lumber mill for 26 years. Then the mill closed. The jobs disappeared overnight. At 54, no one seemed interested in hiring a man who had spent his entire adult life doing one thing. Laura worked part-time at the public library, but her paycheck barely covered groceries. Their savings were gone. Their retirement had vanished. The mortgage was 6 months behind. Worst of all, they believed no one knew how much they were struggling. "We'll lose the house by Friday," David quietly said. Laura reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "We'll find another place." David looked around the kitchen where they'd raised 3 children. Birthday parties, Christmas mornings, graduation celebrations. 40 years of memories. "I don't want another place." Neither noticed the lights of a pickup truck slowing outside before quietly driving away. The next morning, David walked outside to find someone had mowed his overgrown lawn. He looked around. No one. Just fresh stripes in the grass. That's strange. The following day, Laura opened the front door and nearly dropped her coffee. Boxes of groceries covered the porch. Milk, bread, eggs, fresh vegetables, even David's favorite coffee. No note, no name, just food. 2 nights later, someone repaired the broken porch steps. The next morning, the leaking mailbox had been replaced. Then came a truckload of split firewood stacked neatly beside the shed. Each gift arrived quietly, each without explanation. David smiled for the first time in weeks. "I wish I knew who to thank." Across town, people had noticed far more than the Mitchells realized. Mrs. Parker at the grocery store had seen Laura quietly put food back on the shelf when she ran out of money. The mail carrier noticed unpaid notices piling up. The barber hadn't seen David in months because he was trying to save every dollar. The high school football coach remembered David volunteering to rebuild the stadium bleachers years earlier. The pastor remembered the Mitchells delivering meals to elderly neighbors every Thanksgiving. The town remembered. Without telling the Mitchells, the diner owner placed a coffee can beside the cash register. A handwritten sign read, "For the Mitchell family." Customers dropped in spare change, $5, $20, $100. The local mechanic repaired David's truck for free. The pharmacy quietly paid for Laura's prescriptions. The hardware store donated supplies. The bakery delivered fresh bread every morning. Children emptied their piggy banks. Retirees mailed checks. Former classmates who had moved away heard about it online and contributed. No one wanted recognition. They simply wanted to help. Friday morning arrived, the day the foreclosure papers were expected. David answered a knock at the door. Standing outside were nearly 200 people. Teachers, firefighters, farmers, business owners, teenagers, retirees, the entire high school marching band. David looked completely confused. "What?" The mayor stepped forward, holding a large envelope. "We owe you an apology." David frowned. "For what?" "We let you believe you were alone." The mayor handed him the envelope. Inside was a certified check, enough to pay off every missed mortgage payment, every overdue utility bill, every outstanding medical expense. There was still money left over. Laura covered her mouth as tears streamed down her face. This can't be." Mrs. Parker smiled. "Oh, it can." The football coach stepped forward. "Remember when my house burned down?" David nodded. "You spent every weekend helping rebuild it." Then the elderly widow from Maple Street spoke. "You shoveled my driveway every winter for 12 years." The librarian smiled. "When my husband passed away, you fixed everything around my house and refused a penny." The volunteer firefighter laughed. "You donated the lumber that built our training tower." One after another, story after story, kindness after kindness, acts the Mitchells had long forgotten, acts the town never had. Laura began crying harder. "We never kept score." Mrs. Parker gently replied, "Neither did we." Over the next several months, David found a new job managing maintenance for the county parks department. Life slowly returned to normal. The for sale sign disappeared. The flowers bloomed again. Laughter returned to the farmhouse. But one thing never changed. Every summer, the Mitchells hosted a community picnic on their property. Everyone was invited. No speeches, no fundraising, just neighbors sharing food beneath the old oak trees. Near the entrance hung a wooden sign David had carved by hand. It read, "Kindness is like planting a tree. You may never sit in its shade, but someone always will." People often stopped to read those words before joining the celebration. The Mitchell family had spent months believing no one cared. What they discovered instead was something far greater. The town had been quietly watching all along, waiting not for permission to help, but for the chance to return decades of kindness to the family that had never once asked for anything in return. And on the day they feared they would lose everything, they learned the greatest wealth they had ever built wasn't in their bank account. It was in the hearts of the people they had spent a lifetime loving. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.